I've mentioned this thumbnail design thing a couple of times in videos in the last like 2 years, and we have had lots of people now email us being like, hey, I've redesigned your thumbnails. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And I appreciate the hustle. Mostly they're not very good. If you want to land a YouTuber client as a thumbnail designer, just recreate some of their thumbnails and do a better job than what their current thumbnails are already. Keep in mind kind of the vibiness and the brand that they're trying to create. And if you can do that, you're basically guaranteed to get a job. Still to this day, we are still looking for thumbnail designers. And still to this day, anytime someone emails us and says, hey, I have redesigned 3 of your thumbnails, what do you think? We look at them and we decide, do we want to hire this person or not? Usually the answer is no, because usually they're not very good, but the opportunity is there and it's definitely a skill that anyone can learn. You just need to put in some time and effort into learning the skill because, like we talked about, there are no free ways to make money. You have to provide a skill, you have to provide value, and sometimes it does take time to learn how to provide that value. Okay, side hustle idea number 4 for students is to be a research assistant. So the first example here is this guy called Drew Burney. So this guy was a student in a PhD program and managed to land a job as Mark Manson's research assistant. And here's a clip where he talks about how he did it.
I was in my PhD program. I was taking this class that was really, really hard. I'd sat down for a study session with a group of students, and we were waiting on a few people, so I just decided I'm gonna pop open my laptop and see what Mark's been up to, because I hadn't checked in for a little while. And right there, it's big letters, I'm hiring. And my heart just jumps right up into my throat. I'm like, oh, he's hiring again, what? And I read the description and it's like, I need somebody who can research, I need somebody who can write, I need somebody who is a self-starter, and everything. I'm just like, oh, this is too good to be true.
Wow.
It can't be, at that point.
Similarly, there's a friend of ours called Billy Oppenheimer, who is Ryan Holiday's research assistant, and he landed that gig through a cold email. This is the cold email that Billy sent to Ryan to land that job. Now, I'd recommend you pause the video and read this in its entirety, because there are a lot of lessons you can learn from this cold email about how to send a good cold email. And this email just makes it so easy for someone like Ryan Holiday to say yes. And Billy has been working with Ryan for I don't know how long, but it's been quite a while. And similarly, we've got people who do this sort of research assistant-y type stuff on our team. We've got Enes, we've got Alex, we've got Mike. They do a few different things, but essentially any big content creator, and especially any author who writes multiple books, will always need some sort of help when it comes to research. So if you are the sort of person who can research on the internet, who enjoys reading books, who enjoys reading scientific articles, can understand them, can tease out insights from them, that is an incredibly high value skill, which you can provide as a service to people who are very willing and very able and very delighted to pay for that service. Okay, side hustle idea number 5 is to be a remote sales rep. It's one of the new fads in the world of making money on the internet, but it's actually pretty legit. The idea behind being a remote sales rep is that there are lots of companies out there who need someone on Zoom calls and on the phone to be able to sell their product to their customers. And if you can be the person to field those phone calls or those Zoom calls, to be able to talk to customers, to be able to talk them through the process and educate them on whether the product is right for them, then every time you sell the product, you'll get some kind of commission on that product. That is what a remote sales rep does. And this is a great example of this guy, Wouter Toynissen, I don't know how you pronounce that. And this guy was a 20-year-old student in the Netherlands who tweeted at Sean Puri basically giving him some free thumbnail advice. And then Sean loved the free value that he provided, so he offered him an internship with his company. And now this guy sells ads for Milk Road Daily and has sold $250,000 worth of ads in 60 days while studying full time. He's basically being a remote sales rep. This isn't really a traditional remote sales rep job, but it's close enough, so we're using it as an example, and also because he's talked about his story, which is just a cool example. But essentially, he's selling all these sponsorships on this newsletter, and he probably gets a cut of some of the sponsors that he sells. So if you're the sort of person who enjoys talking to people, if you like the idea of picking up the phone or going on Zoom calls and selling things to people, and you think that you might be good at that, you can make tons and tons of money as a remote sales rep. And this video is not going to teach you how to do it. There are lots of other videos on YouTube where people specialize in being remote sales reps and actually teach you the ins and outs of how to do it. But it's an interesting way of making money if you think that you might enjoy that sort of thing. And then finally, side hustle idea number 6 for students or for anyone else is to become a web designer. Now this is really old school, but it's still ridiculous how few good designers there are out there and how much startups are willing to pay for designers too. I was at this business conference a couple of weeks ago, and one of the guys I met runs a $100 million valuation startup. And he was saying, we're trying to hire 6 designers, but we can literally find no one who's good. So there's such demand for designers out there. I think I know someone who hired a web designer and they pay them $400,000 a year to just be a web designer full time for their startup. But if you want to do it as a side hustle initially, then A, you got to learn the skill and be good, because money is an exchange of value. And once you're good, then it's very easy to find people who will be delighted to pay you for that service, provided you're good and provided you find the right sorts of people. And the example here is this guy called Chris Misterek. Now, around 6 years ago, Chris went through a split with his wife, which obviously had a huge impact on his life, relationship-wise and also financially. And he decided he was going to teach himself how to code and learn how to build websites. And so he used the free tutorials on Codecademy. And once he learned how to create websites, his first few clients were friends and family who he worked for free. And then he went over to Upwork to find various clients. And now apparently he's earning over $3,000 a month. I don't know if this is fully up to date, and I'm pretty sure Chris could be earning way more than $3,000 a month if he went off Upwork and he tried to find clients directly, because I don't really like the idea of advertising services on a freelance platform like Upwork or like Fiverr, because there's just too much competition out there and it's quite hard to stand out. The path I would take is what my friend Henry did, where he decided that he was going to learn how to design websites in Webflow. He spent 6 months learning the skills and then became so good at designing websites that he designed his own personal portfolio website. With that went big on Twitter. He started engaging with all the web designers on Twitter. They started to respect his work as well. And then he managed to land a bunch of really high paying clients, including me, where I paid him a lot of money to design the website for my book, feelgoodproductivity.com. And for Henry, this thing that started off as a side hustle, he had no background in coding, he had no experience in web design, and with dedication and practice, over 6 months, he taught himself the skill to the point where people were paying him over $10,000 every time he was designing a website for them. Now, if you go to the end of this incredibly long video, I would love it if you could leave a comment. What did you take away? And in particular, is there what action point are you going to take as a result of watching this video? Because you've watched this video for a very long time now. Most people who clicked on this video would have clicked off in the first minute when they saw me philosophizing. So the fact that you're here and watching this means that you have a stick-to-itiveness that is probably in the 90th percentile at least of people, because I suspect only 5-10% of people will actually get to this point in the video. But I think without an action point, stuff like this is actually totally pointless. There was no point in watching this video if you're not going to take some kind of action away from this. So I'd love to hear in the comments as a bit of an accountability for you and for me, because it's useful for me to see what people are doing. So, is it still worth making videos like this? What is the action point that you're going to take as a result of this video? Now, once you've done that, in this video, we talked about content and services as a way of making money, but we didn't really talk about products. And so in this video, I'm going to break down a few different product ideas that you can use to make money on the internet, passive income, side hustles, all that fun stuff. That'll be there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you hopefully in the next video. Bye-bye.